What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Odin. His name is Nakamura. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is Kimo. And this is a very, very exciting game. Behind the scenes in some of the more smaller communities, there's been a lot of chit chatter about certain top players not quite performing and some of that very exceptional, unexpected talent arising here. And Nakamura is one of those ones. He is a top deathmatch player for those of you who are uninitiated. He has tangoed with the best of the best and definitely has some incredible wins under his belt in the deathmatch scene, but he's always said that one thing he didn't enjoy about the supremacy kind of Titans experience was basically auto queue. He never enjoyed it, and he's definitely a more hardcore RTS fan and enjoying the differences in Retold, and he's saying, well, you know what, now it's a bit more fun, I enjoy this, and he's giving Supremacy a little bit of a go, more of a serious go than he did before, and he's definitely performing to a relatively high standard here, so we'll see how he's going to be able to go up against the Titan that is Kimo. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you guys see it, I did not have time to watch this game in real time, and I did have to speed this one up. So we're going to be flying through this game, though I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go, if it's too fast, if it's not too fast. Let me know in the comments section below what you guys feel. But we do have Hades, and we do have I almost said Thor, Hades and Odin. So I would say this is one of the more kind of S-tier matchups like in the game. You're going to see probably as the kind of beta stress test goes on, I think you'd probably see a lot more of this matchup. It seems to be one of the two stronger gods in the game. You've got Odin, who's really, really strong early game, and you've got Hades, who's got a lot of really, really strong heroic age ideas as well as a good late game. But we do see Freya and we do see Athena. So we're going to see some early Valkyrie shenanigans coming in as Nakamura moves in with that Valkyrie, going to be harassing a villager really, really early on. These villagers are so weak and that Valkyrie sticks so nicely. Very, very early villager kill there for Nakamura to kick this game off. It's not game ending, but when you think about how much damage that one villager kill is, that's 60 resources a second that you've slowed Kimo down. Not a second, a minute that you have slowed Kimo down, which is going to end up being a really big deal. Forest Fire coming in onto Kimo onto this position, not really getting any damage done, just the basically the 50 wood from that storehouse. I don't even think the storehouse dies, but you're obviously not going to be able to use it anymore. And the idle time of that villager. I think this usage of Forest Fire is going to be terrible. It looks like it doesn't do anything. It looks like the villagers automatically run away really, really well. You're not going to get any weird sticking stuff that happens in the Titans, so I'm not sure about that one. Great garrison there from Kimo into the Sentry Tower as the Valkyrie's still looking around for things to kill, but Achilles is now out, and now Achilles not quite as fast as the Valkyrie at only 5.5 speed, but still going to be able to chase that Valkyrie around, and just getting that Achilles out should be enough to stop any sort of early Valkyrie pressure. It's going to be really, really important for Hades, for Poseidon, to get that early second age hero out when playing against Freya, because this Valkyrie is obnoxious, super, super strong, so definitely have to be dealing with that one and tracking that Valkyrie as well as best as you can. It might even be worth utilizing your Katoskopos to try and see exactly what's going on here. But Kimo keeping his villagers alive really, really well thus far. Kimo as well at this point, I mean, he's playing really defensively. He's making a lot of units. He's sitting back. We are seeing Nakamura coming in with some raiding cavalry there, managing to snipe a Toxote there as the raiding cavalry are going to get her out. And you do note here that Odin, he's got an 0.8 HP regen, which is kind of a big deal because unlike in the Titans where the Odin regen was kind of if the units were moving, it wasn't that big of a deal. But if the units were stationary, they were going at the full speed. But now in Retold, they're just going at that full speed the entirety of the game, which means that on top of that extra 10% HP that Odin's getting from the Great Hall, he's also getting that extra HP from that regen as the fight goes on. So Odin's got a huge amount of extra HP on his units. You've got to really be quick about sniping units, lots of focus fire to play around that, and just not allowing that regen to kick in at all is going to be really big. As we are seeing Nakamura gets another villager kill, and also Kimo tried to delete his storehouse to get out of there, but the 3 raiding cavalry do manage to make that villager stick there. As now Kimo, he is making a big push in onto this hunt here. Restoration getting dropped down. That Minotaur still sitting at full HP. Not that many heroes out here for Nakamura at the moment, as he has to retreat away from this position here for the time being. Kimo's in a great spot here, trying to micro his Toxotes away, but the raiding cavalry are directly on top of them, as the hoplites are also going to be helping out. They do get a big bonus against raiding cavalry, so it's important to make that happen. There's a couple more raiding cavalry coming back from that raid to join in onto this fight. Has Kimo overstepped his mark here with this attack, as the hearse are coming in onto the Minotaur, onto the back here as well. Those hoplites are doing a lot of damage, as it does look like the majority of the throwing axemen have been taken out here, which is going to make it really, really challenging for these raiding cavalry to clean up these hoplites. So advantage Kimo for the time being, as another Toxote going to be coming in here. We do see the Valkyrie automatically tasked onto that Toxote there, but the Ajax going to be coming through. Great micro from Nakamura at the moment. Great awareness. He can also utilize those villagers to come in and start shanking here if he wants. There's a fairly hefty amount of villagers that are actually in this location, so not really a huge need to retreat away. Just get them in, shank, and you're going to be able to win this fight. And we'll see if Nakamura is going to be making that happen as he sends his villagers back in, and he does decide to start the shanking coming in here as well. As apologies for the slowdown speeding up. I'm realizing that I do not have time here. So we're going to get this one going as more and more units coming in. The Minotaur here, the more and more I see this, the more and more I'm thinking the Minotaur, you might want to be a little bit more pick and choose as to when you actually use that special ability, because you move the Minotaur in, instant headbutt, and the villagers, yeah, you get a whole bunch of villager damage done, but you've actually just sent all the villagers to safety. So maybe not utilizing that special ability is going to be the right move, or at least getting the Minotaur into a position where maybe you can headbutt the villagers away from their retreat path before or at a good point rather than straight away. I think that's going to be the way to go here with the Minotaur. So definitely turning that automatic headbutt off is going to be a really, really good idea. Not also to mention that I believe it's an area of effect damage thing, so you want to really be timing that one as you're with the Minotaur. Makes a lot of sense. But Kimo, he's still pressuring Nakamura. Nakamura is heavily on the back foot right now. He might even need to get himself watchtowers. He's jumping onto the berries here as well. One other option here, if you're on the back foot and you got a ton of goats, instead of going onto the berries, I think you should save berries to the very, very end, just before you go into farms. Just because the herdables gather so incredibly quick with husbandry, doesn't really make any sense yeah, you can save them for even longer by going onto the hurdles, but by going onto the berries first. But generally speaking, jumping onto the faster gathering resource earlier nets you resources when you need them, rather than just having more resources a little bit later. Arguments can be made for both ways, so I'm not going to be too stuck in the mud about it. As Nakamura still trying to come in here and take out these units. Kimo's a little bit all over the place at the moment. Population-wise, the Odin a little bit behind Kimo here in terms of population, but I'm not sure all the units are quite in position here for Kimo. Kimo's also floating quite a bit of resources at the moment. Same too for Nakamura with 700 wood in the bank, but Nakamura has dealt with that by taking all of his wood villagers off of wood gather rate here. So I really like that move, but Kimo on the other hand, he needs a lot more gold income, and he looks like he wants to go to the heroic age, but he's being aggressive. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you're going to try and tech, you want to be sort of pulling back, giving your opponent back the map. If you want to be putting pressure on, you basically need to be spending all your resources onto units here, as Kimo gets surrounded on the back line. All those beautiful Toxotes on the back, they're getting absolutely demolished here. Throwing Axeman, not able to get sniped down either here, as a Hearse are going to come in and be able to help cleaning up the remainder of these Minotaur. And Kimo, after all of the good that he's done here, does end up dropping down quite severely in population. He's still making more and more of these Minotaurs as well. He's got 2 villagers on favor to boot, which basically means he wants to continue building Minotaurs and trying to make them work here in the classical age. It's not a bad idea because you can very, very easily pick off those Herso with a combination of Hoplites and Toxotes to take them down. And those Minotaur there are going to be able to really get a huge amount of damage done otherwise. So we'll see if he's going to end up going for an upgrade or something. But at the moment, Kimo, he's actually run out of gold. And what does this actually mean right now? He's lost a fight. He's run out of gold. He has to move to a second gold mine. Nakamura should be thinking, I need to put pressure. It's 13 minutes into the game. That first gold mine will be expired, or at least it should be expired. And we'll see what's gonna end up happening here for Nakamura moving forward. A couple more houses coming down in this main base here for Nakamura. You know how I feel about this. Where do you put your houses? Put them in your base, but make them safe. Have one military unit as your house builder for the entirety of the game. There's no excuse, in my opinion, to be putting houses in the front. It's just a weakness that your opponent's going to be able to exploit. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, we can kind of make some mistakes where that's concerned. As we do see Labyrinth of Minnows does come in. Now, this does not make the Minotaurs cheaper like it does in the Titans. Instead, it makes them faster. They are a brutal unit. But while this is going on, Nakamura is hitting an incredible raid here. Kimo not paying attention. He knows where he wants to go. He's got his Pegasus actually out over in the bottom corner there, spotting that gold mine, and he sees an opportunity to get in here and take down a whole bunch of Nakamura's villagers. But Nakamura going to be retreating away here, and it does look like he's managed to get himself to safety to some degree, and he gets the village, the army back in to defend onto this position here. Great awareness here from Nakamura. He realizes his army, there's nothing over there, so enemy's army has to be somewhere. And Kimo gets a little bit of return fire there to some degree, but you have to say, after that sequence has concluded, Nakamura is in front here. 43 villagers to 39, 44 villagers to 39. The 4 villager lead here for Nakamura moving forward. And he comes back in, surrounding this army here as best as he can. He's got raiding cavalry on the front and the back, so you can't defend this very easily at all. Those Valkyrie are coming through here to get some significant damage done, as well as the Minotaurs all end up falling. And now Nakamura can start moving forward to get even more damage done onto Kimo. Kimo here, he's trying to get himself into a really, really defensive position. But I think the mistake that Kimo has made here is staying too long in the classical age. This is where Norse in Retold have got the advantage, in my opinion. They can keep you in the classical age. They're going to be having a field day with you, if you're the Greek player, that is. Whereas if the Greek player can get a decent heroic age timing, you get access to the Manticore, you get access to the Nemean Lion, you get access to the Hydra. These things are all really, really good against Norse, and Norse is going to have to figure out how to defend those as well, especially with good timings. So definitely thinking about maybe winning a fight, retreating back, going heroic age is going to be something that I think is going to be a great move for the Norse, for the Greek players moving forward. But Kimo, he's found himself in a difficult position. We've seen him in worse positions before throughout his Age of Mythology career. We'll see if we can figure this one out and defend here. As Nakamura is really trying to force the issue here. There's Town Center Fire, there's Sentinel Fires on the back, but those raiding cavalry, they just are not cutting it here thus far, as Nakamura decides better retreat away, take a little bit of damage, and get back to safety. He does have the population advantage here, and he has hit the heroic age here through Scud. He decides to drop that Frost down, but you can see Frost is completely different. Well, I mean, it's not different in the sense that it does something different, but the actual end effect of this is completely different. You can watch the Minotaur HP ticking down. It doesn't tick down by 1 damage a second anymore. It's ticking down by a much different number. And that's because there is no longer a minimum to the amount of damage that can be done per unit. So Nakamura decides to retreat away after this. I think that he had a perfectly reasonable position there to continue this fight, but Aphrodite comes through for Kimo, and Nakamura going to have to retreat back. Now we've got the Nemean Lion out. We've got a really strong army for Kimo pushing forward, and this game is a game of timings, a game of runs, so to speak, where you've got one player getting advantage, trying to push that advantage as much as possible using that power spike. Next player getting advantage, etc., etc. And that's going to be the way that this is going to end up going. Kimo going to attempt to push forward here and find some sort of an advantage, as Nakamura going to be dropping a hill fort down onto this position here to defend a really, really strong building. It's doing 10 damage per second times 3, so 30 damage per second out of that hill fort there. So Nakamura can defend. And now he's also got the hill fort, means he unlocks the Huskar, which, as we know from the Titans, is an incredibly strong unit to deal with Toxotes there. As we do see the Nemean Lion getting frozen in place here. Frost Giant is kind of one of the few units that can basically one-hit a myth unit still. Obviously, there's counterplay to it in that you can kill off the Frost Giant while the other unit is frozen, but you can definitely take those units out really, really nicely. What is going on with those axes in the air, just kind of flying midair? Who knows? Anyways, what is the next plan here for Nakamura? He's playing really, really defensively. It looks like he's got 0 gold villages here, 5 gold villages somewhere on the map, but I think he's going for the next age. He's got his hill fort up, and he's going to be going for it. I feel like going through Balder here is going to be really, really good, but he decides to go through Tyr. Now, Tyr is also going to be a strong Mythic Age god pick. It's just a matter of preference, really, as to what you want to go for. But look at the villages at the moment for Nakamura. He's got 60 villages, and look at the gold mines. There is no good gold mines here for Kimo at all. So a Ragnarok at this point would be game ending. I don't care what your experience is you got with Ragnarok in the past. 60 villages at this point with no good gold mines, your opponent's on 1 town center. That's a good move if you ask me. Not only that, you also get Fire Giants, which, I mean, Fire Giants are just really, really strong. They got AoE damage with that special, tons of HP, and they're ranged. I mean, they're very, 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 very good. But now, Kimo, he is looking to apply this pressure he's got. He does have an incredible population advantage right now, as Nakamura has spent those 2,000 resources on this one, but he hits the Mythic Age through Tyr, drops that Thimblewinter down. He's attacking all over the place at the moment here as well. And will we see some Thimblewinter Wolves coming in? Yes, we do, to help on this fight, as Kimo tries to retreat away, but it looks like Nakamura is going to be cleaning this fight up very, very easily at the moment. And also, Kimo's villages not really falling down that much, maybe a little bit here. He's down to 47 after the Thimblewinter does expire, but huge advantage now for Nakamura. He's reduced the population limit of Kimo down to 80, or the population of Kimo down to 80, and he's equalized on the population. So what does this mean now? Well, Kimo, he spent all those units on all those resources on units instead of going to the Mythic Age. Nakamura's in the Mythic Age, so in essence here, it's equal population, relatively equal income, but Nakamura is 1 age in front of Kimo here. So Kimo's going to have to really get some good fights happening here to defend himself. We'll see if he's going to be able to make that happen or not, as a couple of upgrades coming through for Kimo. He's going to stick it out in the Heroic Age. Not a huge amount of reason to go to the Mythic Age at the moment, though. I mean, Earthquake is always going to be good. Chimera always going to be good. The idea of potentially even dropping a Plenty Vault so that you can kind of stay alive versus certain like problems. If you have a Plenty Vault, plus you have the Hades upgrade vaults of Erebus, you're going to be able to stay alive without mining gold for much more easier. So there are some options here for Kimo to have gone with, but he is definitely going to be sticking this one out. As we do see him attempting to get a town center for the time being. A couple of Valkyries causing some problems here, but with the Nemean Lion Roar, freezing them in place for a little bit, stunning them in place for a little bit there, that's going to be a challenging thing to get away from. So you've got to be really careful with those raids when you've got Nemean Lions to deal with. As we do see now, Nakamura ready to push forward. He's got the champion cavalry in. He's got the champion infantry in as well, it looks like. And, well, Champion is really, really strong right now. I think it's even stronger than in the Titans. It gives you even more HP, even more damage. So it's a really, really big tech to be getting. Plus, Nakamura is also in front on the population as well. So those raiding cavalry attempting to get onto the back of those top 30s. But as we know from the Titans, you really need to have a significant, even with the bonus damage, you need to have a significant amount of units to actually take down a ball of archers. You can't be going half raiders onto a ball of archers. They're going to be able to deal with your ratio of 1 to 2. Those archers are still going to be able to kill your cavalry no matter what. So you just need to get a decent ratio of raiding cavalry to Toxotes to actually clean them up. Alternatively, you can make some Huskar, which we are indeed seeing here from Nakamura moving forward. But at the moment, Nakamura, he's been a little bit undecided about when he wants to push forward. He's got himself 190 population. He's got himself 2 town centers. He can get himself fortified town centers here as well. It's a little bit better, I believe, than in the Titans. Now, it might even, I haven't done the math on it, but it might even be better resource-wise as well to get fortified town centers than get a 3rd town center up. Have to actually do that math now that I think about it. Maybe let me know in the comments what it actually ends up being. As now, Hill Fort coming up. I like this idea. Hill Fort versus Fortress here is kind of advantage for the Fortress, I think, but still any little bit of help here as we do see Nakamura starting to push forward. Kimo coming in with his army over here as well to try and fight back as the Nemean Lions getting some serious damage done onto the army of Nakamura. He needs to get his units attacking here. He's not making them attack as he's now starting finally. The Fortress still getting good damage now. It's 20.4 damage per second versus 12 damage per second, so a big difference, and it gets even more afterwards. But it does look like the population here of Kimo is starting to fall as the Toxotes retreating away, throwing Axeman, getting the damage done from afar as well, able to take down the Fortress actually relatively quickly as well. They deal hack damage, as well as we see the Ballista of Nakamura coming in. That's going to be able to take down the Fortress as well here. As Kimo, he's got access to 1 gold mine at the top. I'm not sure if Nakamura has that one scouted at the moment, but Nakamura's going to be going for a 3rd town center. That's going to help push his economy even more forward here. As we see, Kimo is now getting himself some Pierce upgrades. It is a good option to try and defend against the Ballista, because the Ballista is going to be dealing Pierce damage, one of the few units of Norse that gets to deal Pierce damage. Now you've got the Goatee as well to deal with, but and also the Troll, but not very many Pierce units to deal with. Kimo going to be prepping for that nonetheless, as the Nemean Lions coming in yet again. You don't see Kimo doing this manually here. I do think that the Nemean Lions need to be special attack, then special attack, then special attack. You have to kind of stagger them, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're kind of missing out a little bit. As it looks like Kimo's army here is dropping very, very quickly. 140 population to 170 population. And Nakamura's got a lot of resources back. Kimo's also got a decent amount of resources in the bank. Not spending those all too well here at the moment. As Nakamura pushing forward, going to be freezing the Nemean Lion in place over there, dropping a whole bunch of buildings here, as well as Nakamura is realizing he needs to be spending his resources just a little bit better, pumping out a whole bunch of raiding cavalry right now, a whole bunch of Ulfsarks. We see the Frost Giants coming through as well. Kimo is making a big push back at the moment, but if you look at the population of Nakamura, excuse me, 210 population to 150 at the moment is absolutely gigantic for Nakamura. There's not really a good way to say it, but advantage for Nakamura. Not a huge amount of options here for Kimo. Side builds, side raids, trying to pressure Nakamura in a place where all of this population isn't. It's kind of the only way to go, but the problem is that Kimo, he needs this area because the rest of the gold mines are non-existent on the map for him to be grabbing here. And not only that, also the gold is on this position here for Kimo as well, whereas Nakamura's gold trade route is completely untouched down the bottom here, as the Frost Giants just continuing to deal with those Nemean Lions incredibly effectively. Not only that, he's also got the upgrade for them to make them sit there and be very, very strong, increasing their HP as well. As villagers now moving forward here for Kimo to try and take down these forward towers. They do get bonus damage, but Kimo does not have himself that leather armor upgrade available in the heroic age, and those villagers get taken out incredibly quickly there, as it looks like Kimo has got not very much gas left in the tank, sitting at 81 villagers, but not very much military at all. And Kimo does end up tapping out, seeing all of this. Look at the unit kill to loss ratio. They're absolutely gigantic. And if we move in here, villager or resource collected here, significant advantage to Nakamura moving into the later stages of the game after that tier. You can see how much damage that actually ended up doing. And that is, in the crux of it, the big difference here. Getting those timings and getting the heroic age in, getting the mythic age in. You can't just stick it out in the classical age anymore. I don't think it's the way to go, but you have to be careful about it. You've got to pick your timings so that you don't get overrun. And I think Nakamura did that incredibly well in this game. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, so hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.